Well, here I am. Tom Fisher here. We're doing another painting. This is, I had a comment from one artist stating that she liked my last painting regarding the farmhouse, the farm yard, I should say. And the fact that so many buildings are passing away. That reminded me of this. I had a old photograph sitting around for a lot of years. And I wanted to do it because this building, it's still up. But I don't think it's going to be very much longer. It's such a nice building. It's a barn. And it's a very large barn. And it has an old farmhouse near it. And so we're going to do this barn. The problem is with this barn and everything else, it almost calls out for detail, but my paintings, I don't like detail. What I'm striving at it here is to tell the story about along these barns and how they're going by the wayside. This one is still functioning, but probably not too much longer. This farmhouse and so on is just amazing. So we're going to capture it today. So let's get going. All right. First of all, you'll notice in the top left of your, or on the left of your screen, that you'll see the photograph that I'm taking this from. So, overcast day. Now, I have sketched out, your drawing still has to be accurate on something like this. This is architectural. It calls out for accuracy. But I penciled this in. This is a 9 by 16 inch panel. I gessoed it with acrylic gesso and value 5 gray. It includes marble dust in that mixture and 2 coats of that. This is penciled in with graphite, but you notice it doesn't come off because I used a retouchable varnish on it over this, and you can see that nothing comes off no matter what I do. So it's kind of a neat surface. It's a great surface. I've got the detail. I got the everything placed so we can keep on going. I'm not going to be screwing up the drawing all along the way and hemming and hawing. So we can go ahead with this. I mixed up a couple of small mixtures here. Green, using Ultramarine Blue, a little bit of this is Cerulean Blue, white, a little bit of yellow mixed in there, and I believe that I put burnt umber in there. Also, I did the same thing with burnt umber, ultramarine blue, and white, with a little bit of yellow in here as well for the blue mixture. And then I've got kind of a yellow brick for some of the house and some of the basement area. Now, I use these 3 mixtures, but I kind of pool it up, and I'll be pulling other mixtures from that, and I'll describe that as I go. So first of all, however, normally, sometimes I will use a rag method and put it in with a rag, but because this calls for a little bit more accuracy on the drawing part and so on, I'm going to scumble it in like I normally do with brushes. I'm going to use a number, it's number 6, filbert. And I'm going to just gummel this in here. Let's just do that. I'm adding a little bit ultramarine, excuse me. There's some Cad Yellow and some Yellow Ochre in here. So just to tide this over a little bit. This is not in the same proportion as a photograph. There's a little bit more length to it, same height. So you'll see that white space on the left. That's how much more elongated this picture is, and I did that with Photoshop to show you what I added, how much I added. I was cropped a number of times to come up down with this proportion and so on, and until I really liked it. And I don't see anything that doesn't seem to be, that it doesn't seem to be too much. And I don't see myself doing a lot of creating of new areas or changing of values or anything. It's pretty good as it is, so I don't want to I still want to have the very impressionistic feeling to it. So we're going to go ahead with that. I'm just going to kind of go around here a little bit. You can see that I'm going to pretty much use this brush throughout most of the process. I don't see a reason to use 100 brushes. Just recently, I was looking at a YouTube video, and this guy, he appeared and they portrayed him as a very well-known professional and so on, and he had 32 bunches in his left hand of 30 each, divided up with one finger that he uses forefinger for. And he divided it up and was just holding on to them. There were literally 60 brushes there. I had to laugh. I don't know. I typically, sometimes I only use one brush. So, I mean, maybe I'm the fool. I don't know. Maybe I'm supposed to have 60 brushes. But, I don't know. It's kind of ridiculous, I think. This yellow is this yellow is made from burnt umber, little ultramarine blue, tad of that, then some yellow ochre. I think there might be even a tinge of black in there. I put a little bit of black here. I think I did delve into it a little bit. I hardly ever do that. Never normally use black. I normally make my black color ultramarine blue and burnt umber. But in this case, I can see I did use a little bit in this case. And I'm adding just a little bit of cerulean blue in here for this corner right here. Just add a little bit of I'm just going to throw some of this in where I see it. See more of a gray here, a little bit more blue mixture. Some of this, sometimes you lose some of it. That's okay, you know where it was. Just like painting a portrait. You sometimes put some guidelines down, but then you as you're proceeding through it, you do change it, and you do fool around with it, and you lose some of it as you're going, but that's okay. Now, this is not necessarily right on the nose, some of this. Sometimes I get close, sometimes I don't. But, just kind of whipping some of this in. This is the kind of throwing this together a little bit fast, but that's okay. I'll tell you an easy way to sometimes draw this out. I'll have it in maybe the next, so that you can get some really accuracy without flubbing up a lot and screwing around. And sometimes there's nothing wrong with using some technical illustration, because I was a technical illustrator. Some tools to make some things happen. So it's okay at times. Remember once I was doing some technical illustration, and I used some tools. Some that was actually press-on lettering at the time was a great big new thing, and I was actually using it. And I was using some arrows, press-on arrows. And a writer came up to me and said, "You're cheating. You can't do that." And my head of the division complimented me for rather that I was using what was available to expedite things. And so that's what it's all about sometimes. All right. I'm going to get to... Right here I'm using a little bit of dark or darks. Because this is my focal area, and so I can do that. I can do anything I want. Don't tell me I can't. You're getting kind of big for this, for this area, I will admit. I want to get those. The most important thing is to get those values correct. All right, so now I'm going to take a little bit of, with the same green, I'm going to take a little bit of yellow ochre. Sometimes at my age, your mind leaves you and you can't remember a darn thing. Okay, so I'm going to pull some of this in this area, and let's put some of this in now. I see a dark running along this fence, so I'm putting that in. And we'll follow the fence line along and out. I'm adding a little bit more yellow ochre to this, and we're just going to run this. This is I'm putting in a fairly low intensity green right in here right now. I think I might use a little bit of medium here. Where did my medium go? Okay, a little bit of medium here. I don't use very much at the time. Sometimes just a very little. Make things flow a little bit better. I'm losing this fence again. That's okay. You kind of remember where it was, right? A little bit more yellow-green here. I want to differentiate it from this. Okay, now here I've changed the, because I've elongated this to a 9:16, my proportion here is like 9:14. From my photo, that is. So I have added another inch or so. So what I thought I'd do is pull a road right in here, a country road, right in here, and then pick it up again right along there. And thought that might be a good idea. Because the road that's here, this that cuts across, you see a little bit of it. That is a that road is a highway. This is right by a highly traveled road, so I don't want that. I want to keep that nostalgia going, that this is out in the country. Out in the country somewhere. And so that country road travels probably right along here. Don't see much of it, you know, because we don't see a lot of it. And it'll become clearer as we go. Okay, I see some which on grassy areas and so on that are kind of mundane, you want to change your color. You want to change your color of your grasses here and there. I have to just check to see if you're still here with me. So bear with me on this. Okay, you are? Good, way to go. Let's hit this up a little bit, this top part. Typically, your brush stroke should follow the contour of whatever you're doing. Like if it's a hill or whatever, you know, it should follow that down. You can notice that I'm losing a lot of what I already drew. That's okay. I don't want to get carried away with this and think that too seriously of ourselves. So let's do the sky. I'm going to keep the sky pretty much in this. I'm going to darken it just a little bit. You know what? I've got such much green here. I'm going to throw a little bit of red in there. Yeah, I'm throwing red in there. Yeah. So what? What's it to you? Okay, now notice another thing that I'm going to be doing here. There's a little bit of green from my mushed up. Oh, look at that. Look at all that green on there. You guys get too serious about this cleanliness factor. Because to have harmony through a painting may mean that you take some of those colors and you distribute it throughout the whole canvas. Also, do you notice that everything's kind of going this way with this barn is pointed this way? It makes us want to point that way. It makes us want to go over that way. So we want to stop it first of all. So I'm putting up a stop right now. I'll put up a stop. I have to put up a stop. Otherwise you'd be going all over the place. You'd be following that all over. So I'm putting up a stopping point here. Okay, now I'm just dipping it in the to medium to pull off most of the color so I can continue using the same brush I have been. This is not how you're supposed to do it. This is how I do it. Seems to work for me. All right, so I want to counteract this thrust by pulling the clouds and those kind of things. I want to pull it this way. So I'll do that. That's the bottom of the ditch area. Road is coming through this way. And then of course I think I have to make this up and so I think I'll do that. Not sure yet, so you know, don't hold me up if I don't go through with this. Okay. I'm going to continue to I'm going to obliterate this fence. I know where it is. It's not hard to figure out where it is. Okay, so I think I want more of the flat surface of a landscape tends to have a little bit more. It tends to be a little bit brighter, so the top portion, and also if the grass is mowed down or has a reason for being mowed down, such as cattle or something on that order, then it's more likely to be later. And I see here that you're right along this fence. I'm going to have to go on the fence a little bit. I'm going to pull it up a little bit more. And then here, it appears like there's a ditch coming down here, or some water, probably water. Tends to be a little bit build up there, probably. Include a little bit of burnt umber there, just to darken it in a little bit. This is pretty much back here. I'm going to include some Ultramarine Blue back here. This appears to be up along this area. It's probably muddy area with the you have to get that, so it's always changing the view on me, so always looking at something different. All right. Probably where a lot of the cattle stamp or stomp, and they walk around a lot more. They come out of here. Oh, let's put in this dark. Probably come right in there out of that area first of all. Switching to a smaller brush, it's way too big at times. Ultramarine Blue, burnt umber. We just put this in for timing, just for placement. Totally lose where those are. Whoops, I gotta bring this up more. A lot of outbuildings, you don't want them to look too good. I noticed that this was one. I just noticed this now. This one is actually that way, so it's pointed that way. I didn't know this before. Now I do. Alright, so therefore, I'm going to get a little bit more blue here. And I'm going to, I didn't notice that. Huh. Alright. So this is actually pointing this way. And this building is back here further. So we don't want the tops to merge. So they have to kiss. So we're going to pull this one down a lot more and allow that to go off canvas. So I'm just going to put this in a little bit. A little bit more burnt umber there. Okay. Just kind of pulling it together, trying to figure out the whole thing as far as value is concerned and so on. Evidently this one is still pretty much the color of the barn, has the same tin on it. This is actually tin covered. The whole thing is tin covered, and that's why it actually looks that way. I'm going to for right now, I'm going to put a darker top on that. Add a little bit. Darker values up here. Right now, let's see what that looks like later. Let's pull together a color for the silos. And see if does that look dark enough? Not really. I think that's about right. Let's just put this in for right now. See it. See how that blending right with that dark of the eve that I just put in a while ago? That's okay. What I need to do then is to let's go through here. I'm not taking a lot of time on a lot of this right now. Just want to get some of these things anchored in here. Trying to figure out this area. Sometimes on a photograph it's when you can't tell it's there. So you have to come up with what it is. That'll make sense of it. So if this is the one window, it's okay and makes sense that then that's the other window. Yeah, alright, that makes sense. I would imagine that there's another window over here. It doesn't show it in there, but I think I'm going to allow a little bit more of what I consider the house to show. I think we'll put like a brick fascia down below on that. It looks like there could be one, but I'm not sure. This is showing some light through that. Well, I'm going to show it right next to the house. I don't know if that's a good idea. That's just okay, so I'm taking a bunch of got some yellow ochre and some yellow ochre and white here. And I'll flick it up in a couple areas here. So, got to make this road, or what appears to me, I'm hoping something that will look like it could have been a road. Huh? So, put in a little bit here as though this road is coming up that way and going in and landing possibly up there on a little hill. This is a situation where you have to make up things. You have to gather things out of your memory banks and say, okay, now what works here? Otherwise, you're just imitating nature. And it's pretty hard to do that, to tell you the truth. Okay, now down in the ditch here, we have more bluer. Now, of course, my ditch is I had to get my road in there, so. You notice that it tends to be a little bit bluer, blue-green, more than it is up on the top, which is more yellow-green. It's because it's in, get a little bit more water. Plus it's plus that's on top, because it's a flatter plane, it's going to receive more light and therefore become lighter. It's not, this is further back than this, so I should include a little bit more yellows in this so that it comes forward more. Got some grays and so on. I'm just going to kind of float in a couple. Just to show that there's a fence there, I have to reiterate a few of these. Maybe a little bit lighter on some of those. These are reflecting a little bit of light. I see these are going back here, and they're they have more words on them and so on. Oh. So they're still darkish. But I'm going to put it in another way. So damp. It's also wet. So sometimes it's all wet and wet that I'm doing it and not letting anything. Nothing is drying, of course, in between. So and sometimes you have to do it in reverse order. Here I have a bunch of paint, old paint that's coming up. Okay, I'm going to try to emulate some of this stonework here, and gotta watch out on this stuff so it doesn't look so kind of hokey, but there are ways to do it. Sometimes we're putting down a texture. And then always remember those the value differences. Just by getting those right, you can fool people into thinking it's something other than what it, that it's actually something different than what you actually drawn or painted. In other words, I'm painting a value, I'm painting a pattern, I'm not painting rocks, but they think you're painting rocks. It appears to them that you've got some rocks going on there. I do not put in a lot of rocks. Just make people think that that's what it is. Notice that I've got this going down a little bit. Have to pull this up, go along that. Linear perspective is important to have correct. It's still not there. coming along, coming along. Slow. Slowly. Okay. It's not quite done, almost, so we have to just hit some accents and highlights, and I think it'll be there. Notice one thing that's really bothering me right now is that this is coming across too much. This is probably correct. This is probably a little bit off here. Okay, also notice that I have to pull this up a little bit more. Yeah, see, this was, it has to go, and perspective-wise, have to hit a vanishing point over here on the horizon. It was not doing that. It's so easy to screw that up. So I wanted to bring that out, that we all can do that. We all can screw that up without kind of noticing it like we should. We should notice it, but we don't. Okay, so what we're going to do now is just do a few highlights. Okay, so here's my focal point. It's not over here. It's over here. There's darks and lights here. There's got to be some really darks here. I want to put in some darks. Some very darks. I want some lights, and if I just use some of this light here coming through, it will. I'm putting this on with allows this to stand out then. Remember how this was, I had a problem with this before. Now we're going to add a little bit. I think we'll add a little bit of red in there. Just, I don't like to add red typically, but we got a lot of red over here. Let's put some over here because it might take my attention away from my focal point. So I have to watch out for that. I don't think it is though. And we'll go down like that. Keep it behind there. Okay, so still have a problem with that, so I have to have some touch-ups, especially on, right now I'm doing touch-ups on what would be called linear perspective. Still have to come over here a little bit more. Yeah, that seems to be okay. Got some put a few touches of dark along here. I think that's about it. I think I'm going to call it quits before I spoil it. I think I will add a little bit of lights up here. Add a little bit of red in here, a lot of green in here, so I'm going to throw some complementary color in there. I think a little bit more red right in here would be a good thing, and a little bit of yellow. I'm going to pull some of those colors down into the sky now. That's what we're doing. Why not, huh? Yes. All right, I think that's it.